Good Lord. That's
Oh, dude, the pictures don't do it justice. Cleaning out my mom's house today, you should see. My mom was a math professor and loved academics and loved books.
have you looked into what you would get in insurance money for a house fire?
There was a neighbor who suggested the lightning, sort of accidental something happened there.
Uh-huh. Accidental kerosene.
Yeah, something like that. It's a very old boiler. Yeah, so I mean, just books upon books upon books upon books. But one of the things that I did come across was, in timely fashion, the Village People greatest hits, which my son was just asking if they were a one-hit wonder, and I was like, no, they have Macho Man, and I was like, I think they're, and sure enough, I looked on the album, and there is In the Navy. I was like, I remember that being a thing too. So,
Yes.
um,
I keep wanting to say Bee Gees because we mentioned Bee Gees in the opening. Bee Gees had a lot of surprisingly good hits.
oh yeah.
Village People were definitely like the mockery of the time.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, their greatest hits, they have YMCA twice on the greatest hits. So it's like if your greatest hits has
Gotta
one
fill
of the
some
songs
space.
twice,
Yeah.
yes, your
Is it
repertoire
just
might need
slipped
some
in
expansion.
or is it like
No, no, it's not like
I don't know,
did I
the
hear was this?
construction workers version?
Yeah, there's some sort of remix on it. I don't know what it would be.
Yeah.
That'd be great though if it was like song number one and then also just like song number seven. So you're just rolling through oh,
Yes.
hmm, I do
Can I hear
love this
this?
song.
Maybe not. Maybe they all just sound the same.
Yeah, they probably do. Which I'm sure they do. Now I feel like I have to dip a little in just to be like, do they all sound like, YMCA?
Yes.
The
Yes.
answer is
Do they all
yes.
sound like they need to be performed with a lot of arm movements in
Mm,
a busy club?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, probably. Do they elicit a lot of arm movements from the busy club patrons? Yes, they do. And stadiums and elementary schools. Yes.
So you reach the elementary school crowd. You have made it.
There's no way you're singing in the Navy and not doing some sort of Popeye, like arm swinging, like in the Navy
Point to
now, sort
everyone.
of. Yes. Yes. I don't even know if they're in the Navy or if I'm in the Navy. I don't know. I have to get deeper
I
into
think
it.
they're just saying it's a good time.
Yeah, I'll report back.
Please do.
Yeah, if you want to have a good time with the Village People, join the Navy and or go to the YMCA.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things we did find too was a it was the manual for how to use like Microsoft Word, the 2000 edition of Microsoft Word, so 24-year-old whatever, and
Hmm.
that thing was thick. I mean, it was at least 2.5 inches thick of like and to which my sister goes, I don't think you could do that many things like in Word. What on earth were they trying to explain
I
to you
don't think so
here?
either. Was
But
there a
then
whole
you
section on like loading drivers?
yeah, no, you open it up and then it's like, here's the file menu. This is what edit means.
Oh my gosh.
Like, oh, okay.
Truly for beginners.
Yes, we've just evolved past that. That's all.
Yeah. Like if you can't figure the basics out, you're SOL.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So at any rate, so I was there yesterday and then drove back today. So a little,
Oof.
little punchy.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
bet.
it's like a lot of random stuff, like exercise equipment from the 1982 that doesn't even
Oh,
have like, it's not
nice.
even automated. Like it's all
No.
like manual.
Did you have the thing with like foot pads and a handlebar that's just a spring in the middle?
Uh, so I have no idea. I can't picture that. What if you were to say, did it have foot pads and you kind of rock it back and forth, like that thing, like an elliptical, but you're not really like ellipting,
Yes.
I guess it's like a parabolical, maybe. Like you just
Sure.
parabolic back and forth. You're sort of doing a radius of a circle or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, then yes, we had that.
Okay.
There
Great.
was one of those and it was heavy as sin.
Was there a whole video series that went with any of them?
Not that we came across. Not that we came across.
Okay. Let's get to it. Welcome to Native Tongues. When you think of a daily grind, you typically don't associate that with a music career. Well, what about someone who produces a new song every other week and releases multiple versions of it, engages daily with social media through new videos, has lived out of a bus while playing over 200 shows a year, and spent a decade writing songs for A-list country music stars before pursuing his own music career. While that work can be exhausting, it also rewarded him with an American Country Music Award, a Grammy nominee, numerous songwriting credits, a 35-show opening spot on a Taylor Swift tour, a chance to write with Ed Sheeran, a record contract from Keith Urban, his music in major ad campaigns, and most importantly, the freedom to now work in his home studio near his wife and young son. On top of all this, he is a humble, funny, and incredibly nice person. Let's welcome singer-songwriter Brandon Ray.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, here you go.
No.
Oh, I thought I was still hidden by my whatever picture.
Yeah, no, you just
We
popped
can't-
on.
Just hold up a curtain and then you can drop it.
Okay, hold on.
Or hide behind one of the many excellent guitars that are hanging on the wall behind you. Just
Yeah, you look like you're sitting in a Guitar Center.
These are fake. Yeah, this is a fake
it's all a facade.
guitar wall. Yeah.
Right. Like the painted wall in Looney Tunes when they run into the tunnel.
Right.
It's not really there. Yeah.
Smack into it. I forgot you're like a producer, so you have like a legit studio.
Yeah, I join like co-writes with like people who aren't producers, and they're like, "Oh, did I just like walk in on a podcast?" I'm like, "I mean, sure." Then, and so this is like a legit podcast, so I have an excuse for all
Yeah,
this
it looks
stuff.
good. You're actually
Nice.
sort of setting a tone that we cannot live up to. Standards.
Hey, that's the goal.
Yeah.
That's free to look back on this night and be like, "Yeah, it was good, but it wasn't like that night."
And I also feel like we've set a model, so we'll be like, well, hold on, go back to the Brandon episode. We need to see what it looked like. I need to see the setup. It was really
Right.
something.
What was he wearing? What guitars were in the background? Like,
No, I think we already got the pool coat that this is a legit podcast. So
Nailed it.
that's all we need.
I
Thanks.
feel it. I mean, you guys sound so good in my cans, man. It's just like
Fantastic.
Gee, thanks. Which we go for.
Fantastic.
I feel like I'm listening to like the real deal, like radio. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, Keisha.
Yeah. I feel like usually my voice gets in the way of that, which is
No, man, you totally have a radio voice. Listen to yourself.
I could do.
He's saying you're ugly.
Yes. Exactly. No. The radio works for you. Just stay there. Stay there.
totally have a face for radio, man.
Stay there. Oh man.
Aaron, you're a
Yes.
friend of Alexandra's. Is that right?
Correct.
Nice. I'm so sorry.
She is a handful. I will give it to you.
How do you guys know each other again?
So she doesn't live in the neighborhood, but she lives nearby, and she is at the pool a lot, like does swim team.
Dig it. Well, yeah. Alex texted me a while back, told me about your podcast, and she was like, give it a listen. She told me a couple things to listen to. I just listened to some of y'all's Weedus
cool.
episode.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was so good.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, thank you.
So,
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. He was a cool guy. So you're down in Nashville now, right?
Yeah, we're just south of Nashville. We lived in Franklin for 8 years, and then just bought a house just south of that in Thompson Station, Spring Hill, like July of 2020. So we bought it like the perfect time,
Oh,
and
wow.
then everything blew up. So we're super lucky in that regard.
Nice.
Did you actually buy it like right during COVID? Would that be like, so were you moving and doing all that junk?
Yeah. So
That was real fun, I'm sure.
funny story. My wife, who is Alexandra's little sister, she was diagnosed with MS in 2018 and 2019. So I had been on the road. Since 2009, basically
Oh, wow.
doing 150, 200 shows a year,
Oh, wow.
just out going. And so when all this happened, I was transitioning, getting off the road to be home more, and COVID happened, and we were in a first floor apartment. And needless to say, all the families around, they're the sweetest people, but they just did not adhere to any
Oh,
rules or anything. She has an autoimmune disease, and like we're in this like 2-bedroom small apartment, like losing our minds.
oh my
like,
gosh.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I think it was
Was that
May.
typical around there?
Um,
Just the mindset.
I don't want to speak to
a lot of generalities.
yeah.
It's hearsay.
Yeah.
It's not admissible.
Yeah. you know, a lot of people definitely took it seriously. A lot of people didn't. I mean, and I'm sure
That's everywhere, I'm sure.
national, international, but we were just like, we got to get out of here. I was like, I mean, we've lived in apartments just because we're gone all the time,
Yeah.
and since we were transitioning into oblivion, I was like, we got to get out. So like called up a realtor buddy of mine and we just lucked out, finding a great place, and we're super happy.
Is your wife a musician too?
She is. She spent 8 years on Broadway in New York.
Oh,
get out.
Crushing it played so many roles, musicals, plays, everything like that. And then she ultimately moved to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
We actually met on a Southwest plane. We were both hired as background musicians for this band, playing some small town county fair show in Missouri.
Okay.
I was rhythm guitar player, harmony singer, and there was a girl that was usually in the band, but she quit. And it was like, we need a girl because nobody's going to cover these girl parts. So
we're like, I can sing really, really high though. I could,
right.
Your range is really high. So,
well, thanks. I was like, I can totally reach those. I just can't wear the heels,
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I can't
Key
walk.
Component.
Yeah. And so the drummer knew Alyssa. She sang in some killer cover bands. She still does. They do this Twang Free Tuesday still. That's just insanely good. 70s, 80s, 90s rock.
Oh, nice.
And so she's waiting on the plane. We're all getting there, and I've got my guitar, and I'm like coming on board, and she's like, Are you Brandon, the guitar player? I was like, why, yes. So what's your name? Oh, I'm Alyssa. Like, I'm singing with you guys. They're making me learn like 30 songs in a day. Like, what's the deal? Can you sit with me and go over these songs? And I'm like, yeah. And this is like 2013, back when people actually like turn their cell phones off when
on the plane.
I thought I was going to crash the plane.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, my airplane mode's not good enough.
I thought your first question was going to be like, yeah, but what seating group are you in? Because really, it's not going to quite work because I'm an A and.
That's great. Are you first class?
It's a good story, but I'm gonna need you to back up a little bit because you don't seem to be in the right group.
Yeah, you're not in the A group, are you?
Cool, that's awesome. So,
but she was like, "Can you help me go over these songs?" And what we talk about it still to this day, that we landed, we went to the county fair. I mean, middle of nowhere, playing some like rodeo arena situation, flatbed trailer on a rodeo arena,
nice.
dirt, whatever, no dressing room, all this kind of stuff. And we realized the show was about to start that night, and neither of us had turned on our phones because we were just like laughing,
awesome.
Laughing hysterically, getting to know each other. I mean, it was just like, who is this person, and how did we just become best friends this fast? So
that's a good sign.
Try to make that a quick story.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. It sounds like a movie. It sounds like something, and then you get to, oh my God, absolutely. You meet on a plane and then you get there and hijinks ensue. Something happens at the rodeo and you got to go from there.
I got to share with one of the CEOs at Southwest Airlines. We partnered up with them and did some kind of promo. They were using a song of mine for a promo they were doing. And I was like, hey, by the way, thank you for everything. He was like, what do you mean? And I was like, and I told him the story. He's like, that is why we do what we do. Southwest Airlines, whatever.
Well, if that's why you do it, what's your success rate of matching people with their soulmates? What's your win rate on this? Because I really feel like.
Well, it's funny because I tell people that story, and a lot of our single friends are like, "That's gonna be me," like this friend of mine. She's like, because
Fuck Delta, I'm flying Southwest.
She goes, because of that story, damn it. She's like, I can't go on an airplane without having full makeup and hair done because I might just meet the love of my life, and you're to blame,
Oh my gosh, that's great. That's I would hear that story and be like, that. There you go, you're the one. You took that. That happened to you. So there you go. That gate is closed for everybody who ever wanted to do that thing that was already done. They did it, and they're great, and they're both beautiful people, and you're done.
You're done. It's never gonna have rom-com.
That's it.
Check.
Gotta find a new thing. Maybe a bus.
Sorry, everyone else.
I don't know where the buses and the train stations. I don't know how.
Greyhound love stories.
I don't want to meet my
I'll
wife
tell
on
you
a
what,
bus.
if you guys rode on a Greyhound to Nashville and we're doing that, that would act, we're going to actually change the scenario a little bit there on the
Oh, yeah, that's
when we do
horror.
our movie.
That's a horror movie.
Maybe a midnight train.
Yes, there we go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So you were touring, and then you were like, all right, well, I got to hit the road. And was she with you on the road?
For a little bit of it, yeah. So I mean, I started touring when I was like 16 years old back in like West Texas. Me and my brother had started a rock band. We did the Warped Tour for 3 years after I graduated high school. And then after I moved to Nashville, we were a band called Crimson Soul.
Mm.
Okay.
Don't look it up.
I have to say, I went to a lot of Warped Tours back in the day.
Yeah. It was fun and it was rough and all the things. But I moved to Nashville in 2009 and quickly started being a side guy for a lot of acts. And during the time that I met Alyssa, I was a side guy for, I was playing guitar for Brett Eldredge. And we were on the Red Tour with Taylor Swift. It was Brett, Ed Sheeran, and Taylor Swift. And that's actually the first time I met Alexandra, was when we played DC. And Alyssa was like, oh my gosh, my sister's in Baltimore. And if there's any way that, she could come to the show. And I'm like, yeah. And so I'd never met Alexandra, but I knew where she was sitting.
Yeah.
And so in between every song, I'm like waving. Like
you're going to hear her over everyone the whole time?
Like annoyingly to Alexandra. And she's like, I don't even know you yet, So I went and sat with him during Taylor's set, talked to her, and I was like, oh, it's awesome. I'm in love with your sister.
Right.
Okay. I won't bother you. Like, listen to the show,
That's so cool, though.
It's just so funny.
It's so weird to hear your perspective because I bet her perspective would be completely different. Like you're like coming at it like, I'm the goofy guy there. I bet you was like, oh my God, that guy was on stage. Now he's here. Go on with.
Right.
Look at that.
I'm trying to enjoy some Tay-Tay, and he's just, talking my ear off.
There's that too.
Yeah. But no, shortly after that, I was playing guitar for you may not even know some of these artists, but like Brett Eldredge, Florida Georgia Line, stuff like that. And then I was like, man, I just want to do this myself. Like I just want to do my own artist thing. And so I think it was like 2014. Shortly after that, I just took the leap. I signed a publishing deal with Sony ATV and just started going hard.
Did you have the connections?
Yeah. So I signed a great booking deal with CAA, and they just immediately started putting me out on the road, opening for Willie Nelson, John Party, Dan and Shay, Keith Urban, and all these people. And so that's how I kind of met Keith Urban. We got to know each other a little bit. He signed me to a production deal.
Yeah, nice.
And dude's a monster. Like just learning so much from him, songwriting wise, production wise. He just took me under his wing and truly gave me a shot,
Seems like an incredibly nice guy too.
Oh my God. And dude, he smells better. I know it's weird, but like he's the greatest smelling person on the planet. You're like trying to be like,
that's awesome.
Hey, like what cologne do you wear? And he will not tell you. Like he's
really
change the subject.
Wow.
Nobody can crack it. They can't crack it,
Wow. Good to know.
You just sit very close to him.
Yeah.
All the time.
God. Like hugged him and I was like, I think I'm good for like a week with this.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna watch it, But I know we just jumped into this, but I mean, I figured that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah. No. Go wherever you want to go. Aaron has to.
Awesome.
Aaron's going to edit all, so it all goes chronological. So
perfect. Oh, dude, thank you.
And then I was on a plane, and there was Keith Urban, and it smelled good.
Yeah, no problem.
Right, exactly.
Keith Urban on a flatbed truck.
Yeah, great. No, but just kind of being thrown into this, going from being, I would call it being an employee, right? You're investing your time into another artist, And when I say being out with Brett Eldredge, especially, we're on a radio tour during the Taylor tour. So if you've ever heard of what schedule a radio tour is,
take me through it.
Monday through Friday, starting at 4 or 5 in the morning, right? Visiting 3 radio stations in a different city, mostly doing like the morning shows, like Tampa, wake up, Tampa, like all of that stuff. Just like, oh, where am I? What am I doing? Like, and then playing shows at night, then playing every weekend with Taylor. So you look at 1 week and you're doing close between like 15 and 20 performances.
Oh, wow.
Yikes.
It's crazy,
What a grind.
When are you playing your best? I mean, at 4 a.m, there's not a lot I do well. So
yeah, exactly. It's like just awful, but it did just teach me so much about
the grind
and
having the drive
up and doing your best. And if you're going to commit to playing for somebody, you truly have to enjoy being around this person, their team, the band and everything. And you got to be a team player yourself. You've got to be agreeable. You've got to be neat and clean. Yeah. You're living on a bus.
Was that your first big tour?
Yeah, I would say like besides the Warped Tour, being baby band playing 9 a.m. at the parking lot.
Right. How did that come about? So you had a band with your brother, you said. So like, what was the trajectory for that? Like, so were you growing up, you guys played together and then all of a sudden you get the call and you're like, hey, or how'd that come together?
Yeah. So, I mean, I started playing guitar at like 13. My brother Ryan started playing drums super early in his life. He's about 4 years older than I am. And, we were the typical carport jamming band. Like, oh, hey, neighbors are coming over. We're going to listen to you jam for 7 hours,
Cool.
And I think that's really where I like kind of honed in, like being a performer, being an entertainer and just loving that, whatever it was. I don't even think we knew what we were doing in the beginning, especially like when we graduated and went to college and everything. We're playing, we go to college Monday through Thursday, and then we'd be gone Thursday night through Monday morning.
Boring. Like going around doing shows?
Oh, yeah. Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, just surrounding states, doing everything we could literally for nothing, selling T-shirts for gas money, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 18, 19 years old, just like, this is awesome. We're doing it.
Were you booking the shows yourself or did you have somebody helping you out?
Yeah, we're doing it all ourselves. I remember before we joined the Warped Tour, before we joined, first of 6 opening for Fall Out Boy, like, it was cool, but it was a nightmare. It's like, oh, we're playing at 5 p.m.
Like, the crowd's gonna be lathered up.
You're probably still gonna be at work, but like totally gonna be playing. It's just that nothing was off limits for us. We're like, oh, dude, we'll do that. We'll totally play. What time?
Yeah.
Your sister's having a birthday party, a pool party. Yeah, we'll totally play it. I think that was the part of the grind that like we just did it because we loved it. We were all best friends. We were just, doing it. And especially on stuff like the Warped Tour where it's just like, it's hard. It's just hard.
I've read that tour specifically was just a beast.
Oh my God. And I mean, just being on a rock tour in general. I mean, I know you guys talked to the guy from Wheatus and you guys probably have heard the crazy stories, but it's like, I mean, truck stop showers every 4 or 5 days. We had an RV that we were living out of that I think we got a weekly allowance of like $40 or something.
That lines up with like what I've heard.
Yeah, it's like, this is the greatest, and
plus there's a big difference between like, these prestige country acts and like all of the degenerate punk bands that are on there.
It's so true. It's such a different world, but
how'd you get the call for that?
For
Warped Tour, like, did you just get recruited? Did you enter a contest?
Yeah, contests. We did an Ernie Ball. We did a Journeys, and I think we were like hanging with Kevin Lyman and some of his people, and we're like, so like, I guess we'll see you next week, huh? He's like, what? We're like, oh yeah, like we should just like join, right? And he's like, well, yeah, like we'll see you next week, So it's like, just like,
gotta work your way on.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, with Warped Tour, with joining, first of 6 or even trying to do your own headline tour, it's just all the same. The logistics are the same. We have to sell enough T-shirts to get to the next town anyway. Okay. So, we should have invested in FedEx Kinkos because we're like printing out thousands of flyers a day. Like, check us out at noon in the mall parking lot. It's going to be killer. $15 T-shirts.
I will sign whatever you want me to sign. You bring it, I'll sign it.
Like, what? Who are you again?
Right.
Like, is this a coupon?
Yeah, on the back of a coupon.
Tried to make it look like perforated, so it's like, here's a coupon. Platinum package. You get a sticker, shirt, CD,
Yeah.
whatever for $25.
There
You
you
know,
go.
come hang out. You know.
Yes, exactly. Have you read, are you much of a reader?
Yeah.
Have you read Dave Grohl's book?
Storyteller.
See, I want to read that book. I
It's
need to.
fantastic. It's really good. His Travis Barker's book is another one that's very similar. And there's a few others, Anthony Kiedis. The thread through all of these is the same one that you just mentioned, was that they were just out. They're all talented people, but they got recognized because they just said yes all the time and put themselves in the middle of everything. And that was how it came to be. And it was just like right place at the right time because they threw themselves out there over and over again.
That's incredible. Like I think about my wife who, fresh out of college, moved to Spanish Harlem. Like, A, what were her parents? What were her parents thinking?
Yeah.
Right.
But B, she was fearless, and all she wanted to do was audition and get the part, and learn, and all these things. That the environment doesn't matter. Your hunger and your drive is what is fueling the entire thing.
And just keep going.
Yeah.
Just keep, like you said, saying yes, Aaron. I will say on the storyteller thing, I don't know if you're I guess books on tape, audiobooks, whatever. They don't have tapes anymore. Anyway, but my wife and I listened to Storyteller on the way we were on some road trip or whatever, but it's actually narrated by Dave Grohl. So it's like him just telling stories, which is awesome.
I love his story about meeting Prince. Have you guys heard that story?
I feel like that was in there.
Yes, it definitely is in there. Refresh.
Well, hilarious. Quick sidebar. Him and Prince had always been like, hey, man, we need to hang out. We need to jam, blah, 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 blah. He's like, yeah, like, let's do it. So he gets a call one day. He's like, hey, Prince is in LA. He wants you to come and he wants to jam. Okay. Like, where? And it's like, I think it was the Forum in LA, right?
Okay.
Good. Yeah, like, get there around like 4. He's like, okay, I figure like I'm going to get there at 4. We're going to hang out a little bit. And he's going to bring me out on stage. We're going to do a whole thing. I'm going to get to perform with Prince.
He meant 4 a.m.
that would be funny.
Right.
When he gets there, he walks into an empty forum, and they're like, there's the drums, basically. He gets pointed to the drums. He's like, oh, now
Is there
we're doing this.
anybody else?
Gets on the drums. Prince comes walking out of the shadows, fully dressed, full Prince garb, everything. He's like,
Of course.
He's like, David, you're here. Like, what's going on? Let's do this thing. Check it out. And he's like, oh, okay. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Right.
Jams with Prince for like 30 minutes. And he's like, all right, man. See you later. Prince walks off stage. He's there alone on the drum set. Puts the sticks down. It's 4:30. He's like, I just went home. I just jammed with Prince.
No further instructions.
Nobody even knew what happened.
Do
you know?
you mind if I stay for the show? No? Okay, I'm just going to go.
No, not at
I'll take it. It's a good story.
That's awesome. So, all right, let me jump back a second too. You were off the Warped Tour. You moved to Nashville. You became a hired gun. What's that process like? Because you're in Nashville, and that's a highly competitive area with a lot of people who want to do the same thing. So how do you get picked out of the crowd and, get noticed and start playing with people?
Yeah. So my goal was, I was like, I want to be a songwriter.
Yeah.
Touring's cool. I want to be an artist, like at some point, but I really want to be a songwriter. Like I want to sign with a publishing company and like just go. And so that's what happened. I signed with a small independent publisher less than a year in. And then I started, they call them track guys now. Like, oh, we got a track guy in the room we're going to write with, but they're basically producers,
Uh-huh.
And so I just was the track guy in the room. And like, I'd be with an artist and another songwriter. I'd build the track. And most of the time it's like, well, who's going to sing this? Like sometimes the artist would sing it, but most of the time I was just like, I'll sing it. Like I'll just build the track. I'll just do it. And so I was getting hired to sing demos. I was getting hired to produce demos. And then also getting hired, like if I was to do a writer's night, which is like 4 or 5 writers on a stage, they go one at a time, play their original songs, probably 4 songs a piece,
Is that at a bar? Is that like a public thing?
Yeah, there's bars, there's, restaurants that this stuff still happens into this day. Like the famous Bluebird Cafe.
Yeah.
Perfect example. So I'm playing writer's night, and then They'd be like, hey man, I don't play guitar. My guitar player couldn't make it. Here's some charts. Can you play for me? I'm like, sure, like whatever. And so I would like read the charts, and then started playing. I just said yes, and
Yeah.
then I started, there's a guy named Chuck Wicks, the other band that Alyssa and I played for as well. It was just like, yeah, like let's do it, So I would basically write Monday through Thursday and then jump in a van or jump on a tour bus with fill in the blank artists for the weekend and just start all over again on Monday.
Yeah.
And so we did.
Is this your full time?
Full time? Yeah. Just like I'm 20, 21, just like going,
Are you making enough to get by?
Yeah. Making a salary with my publishing company, with my deal, writing songs for them, touring on the weekend. I mean, it was killer, and
what's the obligation for the publishing company? So when you make that deal, is that you're writing for a certain amount, or are you there to help other people as well? Or how does that?
Basically, it's just a quota of 12 complete songs. So like the three of us write a song, that counts as a third of a song for me that I turn in.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Over the course of a year?
Over the course of a year. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, with the way I was writing back then, it was like,
banging out in a month.
Yeah, the third or fourth month, it's like, cool, I just met the quota. Like, what are we doing,
Yeah.
And then are they deciding, all right, this is going to be a Brandon Ray song, or they're going, hey, we could shop this to somebody else and see what we have here? Or
at that point, it was almost 100% pitch, because we were writing to pitch sheets, tip sheets, like, Tim McGraw's looking for a up-tempo summer anthem about tractors, whatever. Oh man, we got to write that today. Like I got this song called like check out
tractor.
This tractor's fast, But it was just hanging out with my friends, just like on Warped Tour or whatever, but in a different way in Nashville.
That's actually a good point too. So the people that you are writing with, are they other sort of, employees in a way doing the same thing? Or had you met them before and it was like, hey, we should do this together? Or did you kind of get thrown together?
Kind of all of the above. At the time, there was, you count, I would say like 8 or 9 major publishers and then like 30 independent publishers that all of my friends either had publishing deals or they had record deals or both. And we were all just like, we had our pluggers booking our calendars. It's like, oh man, I see on my calendar, I'm working with you on Thursday. Like, that's going to be great. And so you kind of just,
that's really cool.
Yeah. You just build your circle. And I don't know, it was a huge, huge learning process for me. Like you're, talking about reading credits of albums, from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I loved everything from, Metallica to George Strait, whatever. And I would live for reading the credits, and basically every song written for George Strait was a guy named Dean Dillon.
Okay.
And I signed my second publishing deal, and his office is the office next to mine. And I'm just like, Dean Dillon, oh my God, like my freaking hero. He wrote The Chair for George Strait, which is like an epic, legendary country song, and so many more. But I had never met him. He was never there. He was always like in his vacation home in Colorado or whatever. He doesn't need to come into the office,
Yeah, right.
And then one day I see this brand new yellow Corvette in the parking lot. Like, that's none of ours. Like, we're driving like shitty, like Chevy Aveos.
Right. Got a Kia.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And I just remember meeting him for the first time, and it was like, I don't know, it was just like everything I thought he was and more. And just how everything happened. Like, I got canceled on, he got canceled on. He's like, well, he's this country western cowboy looking guy. Like, you think about what's the famous cowboy actor now? The guy that talks like this. He was in like the Big Lebowski.
Yeah. I know you're talking about Sam
with the big mustache.
Big mustache. Yes. Sorry.
Yes.
That's him. Like, that's what he looked like.
Edit that in.
And he's wearing a cowboy hat.
Right.
All the stuff. Well, he's like, well, looks like we're writing together today. And I'm like, shit, that's it, And it was just days like that, getting to write with your heroes. It was like an education for me, like a 10-year grueling, grinding, difficult, fun, all the things together process of like, this is how you craft a song.
You're how old then?
I'm 36.
No, then.
Oh, back then I was I would say from 21 to 31 to 32, I was doing that full time.
Wow.
Okay. So on the early side of that, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Yep.
I feel like there had to be some sort of more than age discrepancy. You know, there's a lot of life lived there. And if he's been doing this for a long time and this 21-year-old comes in with some stupid shit, you know, drinking with my friends last night song, like what, where's the balance there? Like, how do you find that?
I think it's truly because that's how I walked in.
Yeah.
I'm hungover, whatever, you know, and like, and I threw out a song, whatever you're picturing, that's what it was. Like, what do you got? What do you got? And I throw out something stupid, and he's like, well, that's shit.
But he was patient.
Was he honest? Was it like real and like?
Oh my God. It was like the way he taught me how to write a song was, first of all, I'm like scared to say anything, right? I got to think of something good, you know? But then he's saying some stupid stuff too.
Huh.
He's making it work. It's turning into something brilliant. And I'm just stuck here with my stupid suggestion, you know?
Right.
And he said something that like changed everything for me. Let's just say I threw out a line like something stupid, like driving a hand-me-down truck, whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what it is. He's like, man, that's just like, it's kindergarten is what it is. He's like, you have no furniture in your house right now. He's like, I don't know what your truck looks like.
Yeah.
What did you do in the truck? Whose truck was it before you? You know, and he's like, people aren't going to care about something unless you make them care about it.
Tell them the story.
Yeah.
You have to put some imagery in there that's going to make them want to sit in that truck or want to sit in that house. And I was like, okay,
That's awesome.
like this is the stuff, you know, like I'm not sitting here like, oh, let's write a, drinking song. It's like, okay, like it really doesn't matter what we write today.
Ground this, connect it to something. Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, I could talk about it forever, but honestly, going through that process, I think prepared me for the next chapter in my life when I had to come off the road and truly supplement our income. Like she was running a successful business. She had to quit that. I have to come off the road to, take care of her, went through the worst, change in her life ever that was completely unexpected. So what I had to do was figure out, okay, how can I keep doing what I love to do, but pivot in a way that can supplement our income pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the answer for the longest time. And so I had talked to a bunch of friends about, writing for TV, film, and sync. And I had done it before. I had sang, the cheesy jingles while I was in college and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I knew I could do it, but I was like, who do I talk to about this? And so at the time, I was signed with Warner Chappell Publishing here in Nashville, and the sync rep at Warner, her name was Katie Jellin. And I go in, I just lay out the whole situation. I was like, I have canceled the next 6 months of touring dates. And this was like beginning of 2019, basically. I was like, I'm sick of like writing for the next Tim McGraw album or the next fill in the blank album that is not going to happen until 2 years from now. And basically those songs are already decided. Like, what are we doing? Love writing country songs, but like they're sitting in an inbox is what's happening.
Right.
And she's like, okay, well, like, let's figure this out. This is
diversify your work a bit.
Right. And she was like, this is the landscape. This is how it works. And it's, I mean, TV, film, sync, promos, all that kind of stuff. Basically, for those that don't know, when you turn on your TV and you see a Reebok commercial or fill in the blank commercial, there's usually a song behind it or a music bed behind it. And that's coming from a songwriter or a producer or an artist, could be a popular song that you already know or something you've never heard of. But the music budgets for promos, in scene, TV shows, films, all that kind of stuff, there's a huge music budget for that stuff. So to make a long story short, she started sending me briefs from music supervisors, everything from Xbox to NFL films to whatever. It's like, we need a blabbity blow type song that's like stomp clapping, get you on your feet type thing, Yeah.
But it's not always country.
It's kind of the same thing you were doing, just in a totally different genre or different vibes.
More general space that's like, dude, I was in a rock band forever. I freaking love pop music. I produce pop music. EDM music, rock. I mean, we could do whatever we want. So I met this other producer buddy who we just worked together today. I mean, we work every day together still, but he was trying to do the same stuff. So we just started, I call it ticking boxes. And I mean, like, write a song about being legendary, write a song about, rising from the rubble, write a song about, like, let's do this or whatever.
This is the moment.
Yeah, dude, I wrote This Is the Moment like 2 months ago. Really? An American Idol. Like, that's what
I was actually going to say. American Idol has got like the sync, and sync is short for synchronization, right? So sync to the picture. Right. They use so much music that would probably never be sung on the actual show itself, and no performer will ever perform those songs, but they come on and it's like, I don't know, alt stuff like The Head and the Heart are on there a lot, or like Need to Breathe. They love some Need to Breathe because they all of a sudden it's like anytime you need anything where it's like inspirational, dig deep, some sort of like that. And I'm like, I've never heard anybody ever sing that stuff at all.
Okay. And Need to Breathe is one of my favorite bands. We have lost so many campaigns to Need to Breathe. It's hilarious.
Really?
Wow. And we're up for the trailer. We're up for the trailer for American Idol this season. You turn it on, it's like, you make dreams come true. Yeah. It's like, Need to Breathe. Yeah.
It's funny. I'm not a religious person, but I discovered them because when Into the Woods came out, their live album, I'm listening to it and it hit. And I was like, the first drop, and I'm like, oh my God, this is really good. And like the second song comes on, and I'm like, how do I? And then at the end of that, they go into like a Modest Mouse cover, and I was like, oh my God, who is this band that I've never heard of? That's amazing and all that stuff. And then they had like the fourth song, and it was like I forget what song it is, but it's about. And then he's like, because we love Jesus or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's why I haven't heard it on the radio here.
Right. I didn't know that. I'm not a religious person either. I didn't know that either. But because of the sync game, because like they were beating us out of everything, I'm like, oh, Need to Breathe. Like, like our nemesis. Yeah, they're killing it out there. And yeah, hey, like that's awesome. Like that they do that stuff too. Yeah. Nothing but respect, but it's just a funny world. Like it's almost like the Twilight Zone to me, that it's like I'll tell somebody what I'm truly working on and they're like, so that's like a thing?
Yeah, right.
Do you get paid for that?
Yeah. I don't think I'd be doing it if they didn't, So.
That's
not
awesome.
Just fun.
I will say, I hope you have some perspective of it, because even just you describing being 20 something and having a publishing writing deal and doing those things, there are plenty of starving artists out there that would kill to be in that spot. And obviously you're very talented and all that stuff. But so having the opportunity, it's cool to be there and actually have people that you enjoy doing it with as well, because certainly you hear terrible stories about people where they're like thrown together, and especially when you're talking about creatively, like, okay, go be creative with this person, that can be tough.
Dude, you're so right. And like it is never lost on me how lucky I am. It's not easy moving to a new city that you've never been to, that you don't really know anybody, and to make something happen and be successful. And I was just talking about it today, like, oh my gosh, like I still get to do this. Like, as long as I still get to do this, like I'm going to work every single day to make sure that, to provide for my family, but also do the things that I want to do.
But it also sounds like you had the foresight to spread yourself out, and not just stick to one thing and say like, I'm going to be the singer-songwriter. I'm going to be the next big thing. And that's it. And all my eggs are in this basket. You're working because you gave yourself other opportunities.
That's a great point. And like you said, like you could be super inward, I guess, and be like, oh, this isn't me or whatever. It's like, dude, guess what? Like you still get to wake up and do music, like whatever it is, like, just be thankful, like I don't write songs every day that I'm just like, this is me. This is my soul on the paper.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Whatever.
F that, man. Let's make some money and have fun doing it. Like, I mean,
if it supports the other things you want to do, we all do stupid shit for work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Much dumber stuff for work than, writing successful ads. I mean, come on.
That's it. Like today, like, I think this is why I'm so hopped up on caffeine, and I'm usually not like this. I was going to fall asleep today because like I got no sleep last night. Our son woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, so we're pumping coffee all day.
Yeah.
we're writing something for like the Olympics coming up.
Oh, wow.
And me and my buddy Christian, our band name is called Outskrts. And
I was going to ask about that because I couldn't find anything about Outskrts, or at least not anything clearly. And as I was looking through, like, I guess the A&R website, or whatever, I was like, sure, that's Brandon in that picture, but there's nothing in there to identify, at least not in my cursory.
so the past like month has been us being like, dude, you realize that just last year we had 20 million streams collectively on our songs. We had 2 songs go viral on Instagram Reels and TikTok. Like there's billions of views of our songs on TikTok. It's like, what are we doing? Like we need to take this more
Grab
serious.
that opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so literally we've been putting out short form content every other day. We just did a live stream with our fans. Like we have fans in Germany and Scotland and all over the world because of these songs that would get placed. And we're like, well, we need a moniker, a vehicle to get these things out there. So let's call it Outskrts, take a picture and put it out there. Like I said, it blew up. And so him and I both, he just had a baby like 11 weeks ago.
Ooh,
So he's
God
a new
bless him.
dad. Yeah.
I don't miss those
No,
days.
but he's still in the tornado. He's in the whirlwind. Like, oh my God. Takes a good 3 months.
We have a 2.5-year-old and it's awesome, but whoa.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
props to single parents,
Oh.
props to anyone who has like multiple kids.
Uh-huh.
But we're like, dude, we really need to like take this seriously. We need to like come up with a plan. We need to get a better distributor, blah, 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 blah. So we got a creative director from a label to define our direction art-wise.
Nice.
You know, I mean, we're taking all the steps necessary to really do this thing, you know, and we're both like kicking ourselves like why have we not been investing in this, you know? And so we have like 12 songs ready to release tomorrow. And so our goal is to put a new song out every 2 weeks for a year and just go.
That's ambitious.
Yeah, and just
But
have
you
fun
can
with
do
it.
it. Yeah, if you're both in the know and you have learned enough and you're talented enough, you're like, all right, you know,
It's true.
we
If you're
can
writing
do
every day.
this, right?
Are you producing them?
We produce them together. So our overhead, we have to pay zero
Yeah.
to do this. Like, and I mean, dude lives like 5 minutes away from me, but we'll Zoom most of the time because we're building tracks and recording stuff. And it's so much fun that it's like today, like I said, we were working on the Olympics song and I'm trying to find a rhyme for some weird word and I'm getting frustrated. I was like, dude, this is freaking cool that we get to do like
This is your struggle. Your struggle
Yeah.
today is coming up with a rhyme for pentathlon.
Like I'm tweaking over caffeine, like going crazy, like trying to find a rhyme for like gold or something. And
Bold.
I don't know.
There you
have
go.
a book. I have a
I'm old.
rhyming dictionary.
I don't know. Like it's really like stop and look around and just like, dude, do everything you can to hold on to this because
Great.
a lot of people dream they would kill to do something like this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you ever think to go into the Olympics and be like, we have this kind of different, like sort of melancholy thing? A lot of people aren't doing melancholy Olympics, but really for a lot of people, you know, think about it. Only certain people are going to get the gold. Most are going to go home sad. And there's a real market to really tap into
so true.
this, like the sadness that accompanies the Olympics.
They only think about the guy who gets the gold.
That's-
What about the like 8th place guy
That's
who's
what I'm
like
saying. It was like,
It's like the playoff song from the Oscars when you want to stop reading.
better go home. Pigs, whatever. You know? Oh, good.
I'll be a hero, just not today.
Just not today. How you gonna face your family? Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think, dude, Ken, I think you're a songwriter, man.
I think I just
Like-
wrote a song. I'm gonna write that.
Write it down. Put it in the note.
Have I sung my one about the party tractor? I probably already covered it. Sorry.
Party
That's okay.
chat.
Do you have a Mr. Olympics email address? And send that over.
At hotmail.com.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed. That's cool. So you're doing that, and then as far as what about like releasing the album? Like, how does that sort of come out now in this day and age? I mean, I feel like also you guys have some like you said, the resources to do it all, like kind of where you are. You're not waiting on a label to come and save you or do any of those things.
Is there even a point to an album if you're doing singles?
So that's what I was about to say. Like, even in the country world, like I'm still releasing music in country music, under Brandon Ray,
Mhm.
uh,
Hmm.
and it's all a singles world.
Yeah.
Sometimes you lump them into an EP to make them think like, oh, there was a point to all this, but there's not.
I love that you said that because in listening to them in Totem on the out, I'm like, it's kind of all like, in the same sort of like space a little bit,
Right? Is this an album? Like, I
but
mean,
it's like they're all really good.
I think with Outskrts, like it is, and I'll just be completely honest. We said this today. You just have to feed the machine. If you're
Hmm.
consistent by releasing singles, and what we're gonna do is say this Friday we're gonna release a single. The next Friday we're gonna release that same single. We're gonna release the instrumental version, the sped up version, the slowed down
Mhm.
version, and the acapella version all together. To where by the end of the year you're releasing like over 100
It's
songs,
crazy.
basically. But
Jesus.
feeding that algorithm for the DSP, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal, all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying it's always got to be quality over quantity. Like I feel like we've really prepped in that way. It's like, dude, like we have a standard, obviously. Like we're not gonna put out crap, but it's like we've stacked them up enough to where we're not gonna get behind on this. And as long as we just keep feeding the machine, algorithms only gonna grow because we're being so consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're present. You're present the whole time. But also, if you're cranking out that amount of material, I'm sure you have a bar for what is acceptable for you. But in that amount of time, if you put out something crazy, did you say like 100 songs in a year?
Yeah.
12 of those songs are probably going to be pretty great to make a killer album.
True.
And there'll be a lot of, okay, good songs.
Exactly. And the whole thing about it is these days is like you drop an album and it's like cool. Like you drop 12 songs in a day and each DSP they're only going to feature one song. They're only going to give one song attention. So why aren't you just releasing a single?
Spread it out.
Spread it
Yeah.
out and let that album that you've worked for or that EP, let it
Mhm.
work for you. Let it, stretch itself. If it starts catching fire on TikTok, if it starts catching fire on playlists, halt your other releases. Let it continue to grow. Give it that attention, and then when it starts to dip, put out another one.
That's cool. It's like a very modern approach to the whole sort of industry game. And it's great. And it's also like very it's autonomous for you guys. Like I love that part of it, that it's like you just control it. You do all the stuff and you hold all the strings and you kind of work the thing. And
That's
That's
it.
a perspective I hadn't heard. That's pretty interesting on releasing your music.
The business techie part of it, part of me hates it because
Sure.
it's like I'm an artist. It's like I do care about music, but if we're talking about providing for our families, right?
Until you have a full team of people that can take care of all that for you, you're better off knowing and learning and doing it yourself.
And I would rather, us put our time in between him and I, we own it 100%,
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. And labels, we're doing exactly what a label's doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an artist and you don't own your masters, that's the money you're missing out on.
Yeah.
That's the money you're chasing,
Right.
And so from the very beginning, we're like, dude, we don't want to work with a label ever. We want to hire a team. Like we're starting to hire a couple young people to help us with socials, all that kind of
Sure.
stuff. It's a mountain of stuff that we've got to sift through and plan out. But once we do, it's a machine. It's like, boom, this is out. Boom, that's out,
Yep.
to where passive income is the goal,
Yeah, of course.
and we're already doing that in a really successful way. I mean, that's what makes all of this possible. But it's like, how can we make this, let's just say Outskrts, how can I make this my retirement? Right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
How can I just, with the TV film strike that happened, that was super unexpected,
Sure.
right? And for somebody who writes full-time sync and relies on that stuff,
Yeah.
it was like, oh God, like if I didn't have Outskrts, if I didn't have the Brandon Ray project out there,
Well, I'm sure that's what everyone thought at COVID too, when they suddenly couldn't tour,
we all had to pivot. We definitely had to pivot. So our mentality now is, okay, sync, TV film, what we used to rely on, that's just bonus. All right. We're always going to be writing for that. Our stuff is tailor made for that kind of stuff, you know, but to completely rely on it is foolish. So put out our music, put out 24 singles with, you know, all the different versions of those 24 singles in a year and get a few placements out of it. That's a great year,
Working.
you know?
What gets a lot of play out of those? I'm always curious when I see the sped up versions dropped of songs, and I try to listen to them, and I hate them every single time.
I'm too old for it. I'm way too old for it. I hear it. I'm like, you know what? It sounds like the other thing is just faster. I don't get it.
Yeah. It's either chipmunks or it's slow-mo. Like I hate it all. I don't get it. But looking at TikTok trends and all that stuff, it's like, I mean,
if the people want it, hey, you know, and it's still your, you know, your creative whatever out there. That's cool, you know.
Exactly. There was somebody I think slowed down our song Let's Do This. It's been the most viral song. Last year, a rep from MLB Network heard it in some player's Instagram reel, and they personally slowed the song down. I don't know what happened, but she reached out. She's like, "Oh my God, I heard it on this reel. Like, we're doing our off season. We're going to drop the commercial during the World Series, but it's going to be MLB Network's theme for the off season." Okay. Right. Mm-hmm. You know, and we want to use Let's Do This. That happened from her seeing it on Instagram, liking it enough and being like, "Hey, we're going to run it for 24 weeks. During the entire off season."
It's kind of perfect too, because like if you see it in a TikTok or something like that, and they know they can use it for a theme song and like that. So it's like, it needs to be magic for a minute, you know, or 30 seconds, whatever, hook to do that thing, you know, to be able to carry it as part of the show. That's amazing.
Dude, I don't sit here and live to write songs like, "Let's do this." Oh, like whatever. I don't wake up and be like, "That's what I'm going to do." Yeah. But I can write the stuff that I love and care about because of the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I can come in on a Tuesday and here it's like, okay, like things are going pretty good. Like the world's not going to fall apart today. So I can pick up my guitar and be like, you know, something that I care about, like whatever. You know? Write the crap that like I love.
Yeah.
And not be worried about it, you know? So
Brandon, that was pretty good. I probably should try to be a little more specific. But whatever. You're the expert. I just giving you notes.
We're thinking with stick mind here. It's all generalities.
Just some notes.
No furniture, nothing.
I do think though that at least because you did the touring grind and then you did the sort of songwriting for other people grind, it's like you've done sort of what, you know, a lot of people would say that would be one career in and of itself, just that, you know, for whatever. So I think it's a good sort of setup. I was just thinking, what's the drawback of that, right? So in theory, if you drop an album, right, you're going to go and tour on that album and go and take it to the people and probably, you know, obviously make money that way, which hopefully that happens for you as well. But you've kind of done that lifestyle already. Do you think that you guys would tour on it or something like that, or if it came about?
I'm of the mindset like anything is possible. Having a child and all that, like touring is the last thing I want to do, you know? And because of COVID, 95% of us were dropped from CAA like 3 months into COVID because it's like, there's nothing here, you know? So touring now, obviously for the heavy hitters in country music, like the Luke Combs and Zach Bryans and like those, I mean, they're selling out stadiums. Yeah. It's incredible. But when you look at, I would call me maybe like in the country music world, maybe like a C level act, maybe lower, maybe like G or a Q. I don't know. Q.
Right.
No. And it's like, I am a risk for even like Cotton Eye Joe's in North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? Like they want if we're going to have a concert here on Friday night, it better be a sellout or close to it.
Oh, yeah.
There's no chances that people can take anymore, you know?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I mean, like I said, there's so much. And now I'm old, so that's probably part of it. But I just picture that sort of grind, and that's probably where you were when you went on the Warped Tour, which is you're going to tour and you're going to sort of keep working at it and building your audience and all that stuff. And that doesn't happen now, at least not at the level you need to be at to make it worth it. You know, where you're going to go and grind in your own way.
For sure. I was talking to Alyssa. I was like, is it bad that I still feel like that 18-year-old kid. Like in every situation, like with having our son River, like I'm like, what am I doing? I have no idea what I'm doing. I have to pay a mortgage. I've got a car payment. Like for some reason, I'm thankful because I still have that like hunger
the hustle.
and drive. But I just don't know why that I can't get over that hump mentally. Like, I mean, maturity wise, and my wife will tell you different. I am a lot more mature than an 18-year-old, but like for some reason, I just have this fear. I have this like paranoia of like everything's going to fall apart tomorrow. And if I don't do something about it right now, it's all going to be over.
Right. I think that's a healthy fear to have.
This is my shot. I need to keep this. This is the moment here. I got to keep going because this is it.
That's it. And so having that mentality, what helps is like time. Time is where are we putting our time? Would it be smart for us to book 2 to 3 shows a week in the Carolinas and Georgia and stuff and get in a van and trailer again and try to do that? It could
and what's the cost benefit? Exactly.
And what's the sacrifice of being away from your kid? Is it worth it? And so,
yeah, well, there's that thing too.
There's that.
I guess that comes after money.
Right.
It's whatever.
How old is River?
He's about to be 3 in May.
You come back in 2 years and be like, oh, now my kid is talking a lot more and saying no a lot more, and
yeah,
suddenly the road seems like a not terrible place to be.
Oh my god! Oh yeah.
I'm just kidding. I love my kids. When you were saying, I look at them like, oh my god, I have a kid. I don't know. Like I have a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old. And I'm still like, I don't know what we're doing. So
yeah,
and that helps me a ton. Here, I mean, like, believe it or not, I mean, that's encouraging to hear.
No, it means the tunnel's really long. there's
like, run.
Yes. I'm 12 years ahead of you. I've been on this same track.
To have to start all over again, since COVID, to do that with the Brandon Ray thing, with the Outskrts thing, for us, it's like, I'd rather sit here in my studio or at his studio, write stuff for my project, write stuff for Outskrts, pitch it to TV film, put it on streaming, and go home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our mentality.
You never know. Maybe you get a call from somebody that's like, hey, will you come play that here at something? And then you could do a one-off sort of, birthday party.
Which happens more often than I thought it would.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what's something cool? Like what have you been asked to come to something interesting?
Okay, this is hilarious. I volunteer for this amazing company called Musicians on Call. I've been working with them since like 2016. And what it is, there's hospitals around the country that have these programs in each hospital. It could be Children's Hospital, Veterans, Normal Hospital, where musicians come in, they go room to room with a guitar or whatever. They're like, hey, do you want to hear some music? And you go room to room, play one-on-one for patients, children, anything. And you do that for like hour or two, once a month or something.
It's great. It's a cool thing to do.
It's phenomenal. It's incredible what they do. And so Musicians on Call, they kind of like partner with like healthcare companies and say, hey, like, whether it's like there's a company called Acadia Healthcare or fill in the blank name company. It's like, hey, this is what Musicians on Call does. We're complete charity. This is our program. We want to show you what we do. And so Japanese healthcare company reached out to them. They're like, hey, we need a theme song. And our whole slogan and what we do is based off of Florence Nightingale, shining a light. Do you have anybody that that could like write us the theme song?
Where you're like, I wrote 12 today.
Yeah, it's like, which one?
Yes.
And so they contacted me to do this thing. Fast forward, like it's now their theme song. They play it, like at their big
sales, conventions.
Yeah, it's like, oh, shine a light, and it's like whatever. CEO,
or someone comes running down the aisle clapping.
Yes. No, they come out on stage in turtlenecks.
Yeah,
lowering from a spotlight. And so they were like, hey, remember that Japanese company? I can't remember what they're called, but they're doing a convention with their entire US branch in Orlando. They want you to come to the convention and play the song.
That's
I was
cool.
like, just that song. And they're like, yeah, just that song. I'm like, okay. I'm guessing you just want me to come out with an acoustic and do it. And they're like, oh, no. They want full band. Like, you need a full band. We'll rent backline. We'll rent a full.
Yeah. Let me go find a full band. Hold on.
Do you bring your own pyrotechnics, or do they have?
And so fast forward, we show up to, I don't know, the Hilton in Orlando, and it's in the grand ballroom. It's like, intelligent lights, and, like whatever. It's like, and now we have Brandon Ray with the theme song, Shine a Light. We did like all of this prep and flying in the day before and hotels and booking and blah, 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 blah.
2.5 minutes.
3 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, you guys want to hit the pool, or like, what do we do?
That's so great. And I bet people are like, yeah, this is great. This is
like, oh man. It's like, okay, bye.
Was it the most you've ever been paid for 3 minutes of work?
100%.
I was like, are you, we have a sped up version. Now you guys ready for the acoustic mix?
Here's
then acapella.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that would be in and out just to do that and head out.
The whole time I thought it was a joke. I was like, are you sure? Like, I could do some Sweet Home Alabama. I mean, what do you want? Like, let's go. And they're like, no, you're like, great job. Like, get off the stage.
Stay in your lane.
Right.
Stay in your lane, singer guy.
Yeah, it's like, no, your part's done. Like, leave.
Right. We have a convention to get to now.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, by the way, we told everybody the CEO wrote that. So if you could actually play back here, he's going to be out front.
He's going to lip sync.
It's going to be great. That's when you hit him with the sped up version. Really embarrassing.
Right. Oh, wrong version, bro.
Oh, Lord. So when does the next Outskrts song?
I think we're looking at May to start the
cycle.
I mean, just going hard. I mean, talking about like putting out TikTok, Instagram videos like every day of like short form content, whether it's just us being idiots doing a skit or us like hanging out doing a performance thing to a track. I don't know. We're just like, whatever it is, let's do it.
Just something to bring people into your world.
For sure. Like, we did a live stream today, like on YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that. And we're like, I don't think anybody's going to come to this, but we had like, 200 people like around the world, like tuning in. It's like, Christian was saying, he's like, dude, like, we can't look at the metrics. We can't look at any of it. We just have to like dive in and just do it.
That's awesome.
And a year from now, we'll see where it's at, and if it hasn't budged, then we do something else,
Yeah, right. I mean, you got to do that to build a following. You'll drive yourself crazy looking at metrics, then you'll second guess yourself. And
dude, that's it. You guys have such a great podcast here that it's like the content is there, the personality is there, and it's like you could drive yourself absolutely insane looking at it's like
it's pointing at me.
I'm pointing at Aaron. Let the record reflect. Ken is pointing at Aaron.
Literally, I'm there, and it's like all you can do is this.
Yeah.
All you can do is be yourself and do the best you can. Put 100% of yourself into it, invest into it, and go.
Yeah. That's I kind of like a runner's mentality where it's like I just look, keep going forward, and then eventually you look up and you're like, where did I get to? Where am I?
Yeah, right. As long as you're booked like 6 weeks ahead, then you have some breathing room. You're a little more comfortable, and
dude, it's so
just
true.
keep going.
I can't imagine the prep time that goes into something like this, and it's like, I believe in this. You believe in this. This is why we're here. Let's do it. I mean, and if that's the only driving force for the first, say, year or 2 years, that's enough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, at least the content's being put out and it's good. You guys believe in it. I got a buddy, Bobby Bones. He's big radio show guy.
That was literally going to be my next question, was to be asked sort of how did you got hooked up with Bobby Bones? Because I watched this Sonic theme song thing, and I was like, come on. And he's like, and Brandon produced this. I was like, okay, that's great.
Yeah, great porn star name.
Bobby Bones, yeah. And he was on American Idol again, another American Idol guy in the family.
Okay.
Sorry.
I would say he could change it to Bobby Boned.
Yeah.
It's like,
he's still Bones, though. He's still
been
Bones.
there, been there, both that,
When he retires, he can change it.
There you go. I guess random story, another one, 2016. I was filling in playing guitar for Brothers Osborne. Do you guys know Brothers Osborne?
Sure.
They're incredible. One of the guys' wives, her name is Lucy Silvis. She's from New Zealand, phenomenal like Americana singer, and she asked me to like play acoustic guitar for her out on the road for a little bit. One of the first shows I played with her was opening for Bobby Bones in like Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I was like, oh my gosh, like he's cool, like obviously like he's like the Ryan Seacrest of like country music, and we literally jump on a bus with him and his band, and it's called Bobby Bones and the Raging Idiots. And he tells me now, he's like, dude, I freaking hated you when I first met you. And I was like, why? Like,
Holy moly.
What could I have done to you? He's like, it was your stupid hair, man. Like you like had like hair, mohawk, and I was like, who's this douche?
Right.
I totally get it.
You're like, I'm incredibly good looking. That's intense. I get it. I get it. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway,
like whatever. Both at the time were like kind of suffering from like horrible like insomnia, really. So every night we just stayed up in the front of the front lounge of the bus, just like hanging and talking, and we just became buddies. And then I joined Raging Idiots like 3 months later, and have been in the band ever since. But all of the music that he does, like we all write together, me, him, and Eddie. And
that's cool.
He's just always been. He's one of my best friends, but he's always been such a huge supporter, huge mentor, like really digging in, like, dude, what's going on? Like, what can I help you with? Like, is there anything you're doing that, like, what can I do for you? And I'm like, nothing. We're friends. I don't want anything from you,
Yeah.
But he's so much of that mentality, like with his podcast or his many projects that he's working on. He's like, I don't want to do anything unless I truly enjoy it. Because yes, I have like a big fan base, but it's like, who wants to watch somebody fake their way through something that they don't enjoy, doing or being a part of? And so, like on a very, very small scale, I applied that to my life too. It's like, do I really want to jump in a van and trailer and, go across the country and basically break even, playing bars, or
Yeah.
what would I rather be doing,
Yeah.
So
Do that. That's awesome.
I
was going to interject on the Brothers Osborne. I'm not sure, still not sure about the voice, but they are from Deal, Maryland, actually.
Yeah,
that's what I remember. That's right. Deal, just outside of Annapolis.
You probably ran into them. Maybe that's how you know.
That's probably it. I don't think I discovered them. Maybe I did. I don't remember.
I think you did.
A long time ago.
Just claim that.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. All right. So you're talking about playing bars all over and then playing, 9 a.m. Warped Tour stages and stuff. Where do you get your kicks? Like, what's more fun for you, playing for a raging bar crowd, or, stepping on the stage with, I don't know, any of these giant music stars, or like that Red tour that you first went on?
I mean, everything is subjective. Obviously, the raging bar crowd is where I love it. Like,
draw your energy.
Yeah.
Give me like 300, like, just out of their mind people just that want to like go hard and just have a blast. And I'm there.
Yeah.
But there's also that like energy of stepping on like an arena stage or a stadium stage. And it's like, what? Like, how do we get here? Let's do it.
Yeah. Love that.
There's excitement and adrenaline in every situation.
How big was the Red tour? Well, I mean, what level of fame was she at that point?
It was, I would say, mostly arenas, and then I would say 6 stadiums in there. We played the first 35 dates, and we got to play one stadium, and it was Ford Field in Detroit.
Oh.
And I mean, it was just like,
which is indoors too, right? So it's like an indoor stadium. So it's like walking that line of stadium, but walking the line between an arena and that. Obviously, arenas are much smaller, but
Are you still pumped, or is there like just a disconnect?
So for us, I mean, Brett, when Brett would go on at most of these shows, it was like, I'd say it was like half full,
Okay.
And then by the time Brett's done, it's maybe like 75% full,
Yeah.
There was one night in Miami at American Airlines Center. I'll never forget this. There was nothing happened. There was a bomb threat. Okay.
Oh.
And we usually go on at like 7:30. And like I said, it's like usually half full. But since there was a threat, they had to delay everything, right? To where they had the crowd file in already. And they're like, all right, you guys are going to go on at 9:30. So the crowd is already there at 8:30. They're ready. They're ready for anything.
You're like, oh, this is what Ed and Taylor are seeing every night. A little different.
But one night we got to experience the insanity of like 22,000 people losing their mind. They don't know who Brett Eldridge is. I didn't even know who it was. You know what I'm
Not
saying?
the time.
Like,
Yeah.
they're losing their at anything. It could have been a guy like just sweeping up the stage and be like, oh my God,
Start the
yes.
show.
You know, here, we're doing this. We're past our bedtime. It's the Thursday night. Like, let's
You're
go.
not Ed Sheeran. Hurry up.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it's
matter.
like I don't care who this guy is, but that was like the craziest thing ever, you know.
For the record,
I bet.
the producers of Native Tongues do not recommend bomb threats as a way to boost the attendance for all the opening acts out there. That is
Any kind of threats.
not anything.
No.
Yes, nothing.
Right.
Seems very
Yes.
effective.
Not fun for
Very
anybody.
effective, but don't do that.
Don't-
That's the only part I'm putting in. Very effective.
Seems very, very effective. But don't do that. Anyway.
Did you write anything with those two?
I got to write one song with Ed and take many trips to Guitar Center with Ed Sheeran,
Cool.
and
Cool guy.
the nicest person on the planet besides Taylor Swift. I mean, we all hear the stories and the hype and everything, and all I have to say is it's all true. You know,
Oh yeah.
She's
She
super
wasn't like too far away. Like didn't give you a minute of time.
dude. By the end of it, it was like your sister or something. She's like,
Oh wow.
Are you guys coming to hang out tonight? Are you guys going to be able to go, or do you have to go back to Nashville? We're like, oh, we want to, Taylor, but we're super busy playing the morning show in Cincinnati. Ugh.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Like, so when you're doing the radio tour, it's like,
You know what I could be doing right now? God.
It's like, could have gone to Disney World with Taylor Swift, but here we are at Carl Black Chevrolet playing a parking lot party at 3 p.m., you know?
oh, come on down. By the way, I'm still driving a damn Kia.
Yeah. We have a Kia Sportage. Wow, full circle. Crazy.
Oh man, how about that?
Yeah. Well, that's wild. I mean, I've always wanted to hear that perspective. My next question is, Ken, do you have anything first? Because it's getting late and I want to wrap this up.
No. I feel like we've been taking so much of the time. So yeah, good. I'm good. Hit it.
Oh man, I just appreciate you guys having me, and you have a fan in me of your podcast, and of
That's
you,
three. That's three.
I was gonna say.
three.
That's three. That's three, at least for tonight.
Dude, we all have to start somewhere, you know?
Right?
Right.
Yeah. Someday soon, my wife will listen to this and we'll have 4.
And she'll hate every second. No,
Maybe. That's a strong maybe.
strong maybe.
All right. So the travel part of this, we always like to know where you call home. And it sounds like home for you is Nashville. Like you identify most with Nashville more so than Texas.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. So we come down to Nashville. What are we doing for a day? We want the Brandon Ray tour, noon to midnight.
Yeah, and like the real deal, not like, oh, we're gonna go bar hop on Broadway or whatever.
Well, you guys are such, I feel like you're such music fans, and correct me if I'm wrong, like history buffs in a way when it comes to music.
Yes.
Oh, when it comes to music, yeah.
Absolutely.
Ken and I are both musicians. I've played since I was like 12.
Same.
What do you guys think?
Same.
Guitar.
Come on.
I've told the story before, but when I was 16, so I played drums in a band and I played bass in a band. But when I was 16, all I wanted was Sega Genesis for Christmas. That's all. Just give me Sega Genesis. I'll be so happy. And I did not get Sega Genesis. I got an acoustic guitar, and I was so grumpy about it. And I'm like, well, now I'm so bored. I don't know what to do. I'll just play this damn guitar. I guess I'll play this guitar thing. Yeah. So yes. So.
Sonic the Hedgehog, but I got to learn a G major. Like, what's that?
What is this and all? But
but live music for sure. I think I've seen more live music with Ken than anyone I know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
I can tell you guys are buddies, obviously, but like the back and forth of knowledge and stories that you guys have together, it's very clear.
Cool.
So
very cool. All right, so where are we going? We are professed music history and all of that.
We love a good dive. We like all kinds of food, any and all live music.
All right. I would love to do all this with you if schedule allows. First of all, obviously there's Broadway with all the bars, all the typical stuff. There's one place that I would suggest you go. That's live music on Broadway. It's called Robert's Western World, and it is truly like throwback, like rockabilly bands, country western bands. I'm talking upright bass,
Yeah.
Gretsch
Awesome.
guitar, like a
Nice.
Brian Setzer-ish type thing.
Yeah.
Or like a throwback 70s country western band doing like spaghetti western, like swing stuff. That's like, how are these guys playing this? They're all dressed alike.
Yeah.
Like it's killer,
Love it.
And then you go out the back door of Robert's Western World, straight to the Ryman Auditorium.
Yeah.
And I would do the tour. I mean, I did the tour and it was so worth it.
Did the tour. Yep.
You did
the tour. My wife and I went and we were in Nashville for a wedding and I was like, we're going. So yeah, we did the tour. I'll tell you, actually, I bought a t-shirt as well. I set my t-shirt down to take a picture of somebody, walked away, got on the plane the next. I was like, where's my t-shirt? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, oh
no.
You did not been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
No, I've been there, done that. I got the t-shirt and then I donated it to somebody on the streets of Nashville.
Swiper.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I got
Aaron,
was that
I
a
would-
veiled Dora reference? Was that
That's
a swipe?
That's a stage you're in, right?
Swipe or no swiping thing. I don't even know. Brandon's kid's older. He probably doesn't even watch Dora. Anyway, like you're growing up at a different age.
I don't watch what?
Dora,
What'd you say?
Dora the Explorer.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what.
Okay, so Swiper, yeah, Swiper is the one who steals crap. And she's like Swiper,
There you go.
swiping, which I haven't heard that in a while. Anyway,
No, but Aaron, I definitely think that's something you would enjoy. Seeing a show at the Ryman. Actually, Bobby, we're doing April 3rd. We're doing the annual $1 million show. It's a benefit for St. Jude that we do every year at the Ryman.
oh, cool.
And dude, it's just gonna be we got Edwin McCain. We're playing for
Nice.
Edwin. Like
Wow.
the Raging Idiots back up each artist that comes on. So it's like this year it's like John Party, Edwin McCain, Ben Rector, Matt Carney. I mean, through the years, it's been like Foreigner. We backed up Foreigner, Brooks and Dunn. I mean, the list goes on.
That's
It's
crazy.
But the Ryman is so, to me, and to a lot of people, it's the best sounding venue there is. And it's just so historical. You should totally do
And they
it.
have the outfits of the people who have performed there in the back, and it's
Oh,
amazing.
nice.
It's amazing. Like
Nice.
your classic like,
Memorabilia.
yeah, the memorabilia is great.
Then we go get some food at our favorite restaurant called Urban Grub.
Okay.
Killer food.
What kind of food?
It's kind of a mix. It's like an eclectic mix of like oysters. It's like seafood, surf and turf a little bit.
Okay.
Great food. And then I turn in early, go to bed around 9.
You're on your own to figure it out.
Guys,
Perfect. Good answer.
this is where I leave you.
That's great.
No, there's a lot.
So you obviously though have been out late night there. What's like where do you end a night? What's like a place to be like, all right, this is it. We got one more in us. Where are we going?
You guys like karaoke at all?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. We've often discussed karaoke and try to figure out what somebody would be their go-to karaoke song.
I almost called you the other day. I had it when I was in the car.
I've asked Aaron like 10 times. It's like and I always put him on the spot and he's like, it's
On that note, there's a place called Santa's Pub. It is exactly
Da
what it sounds
Santa?
like. Santa Claus, right?
No shit. I've been there.
Come on. See? Are you serious?
I swear to God, I went to a conference in Nashville a bunch of years ago, and there's nothing I love more than just wandering around cities and finding like the weirdest stuff I can find.
There you go.
And my hotel had free bikes, so I was like, I'm just gonna take a bike and wander all over the place. And I found that name and was like, well, I have to see what this is. And oh boy, did it deliver!
It's a double wide trailer,
Yep.
wood paneling completely and carpeted inside. It's a karaoke bar.
that's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah,
It is
and
in
it is-
Nashville proper. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
It is not downtown though. It
Oh,
is
yeah.
definitely.
It is in Nashville, but it's like across the railroad tracks. Like
Yeah.
where am I proper? You know.
Right on. That's
It
great.
was definitely after a few drinks where I was like, sounds like a great idea. I'm just gonna bike out to this place and see what this is.
Oh yeah.
But-
I mean, it's become the place. Like Ed Sheeran, when he came last time, he came and like sold out Nissan Stadium, like set a record like 90,000 people in attendance.
Yeah.
What's the first thing he does when he gets off stage? Goes straight to Santa's Pub and spends
Oh
all
my
night.
God.
That's
That's,
good to know.
I didn't know that was like a thing.
That's
The
great.
thing, like, because I mean, it's hilarious. It's like we're in a double wide trailer called Santa's Pub, and we're all having a blast.
So I
Filled with people that look like they belong there.
Right.
so I could. Did you sing karaoke that night, Aaron? Like, can you get on there? Because I've heard Nashville karaoke's even like it's competitive. Like the karaoke bars, you get to, it's hard to.
I know I sang karaoke at somewhere downtown. I don't remember if I sang there or not. There's a strong possibility, but I just don't remember.
Right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Very cool.
And when I was downtown, I wish I could remember the song, but I feel like it would have been Hall & Oates.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
We're
something along those lines.
Are we talking like a well-known hit Hall & Oates song, or like a I Can't Go for that type thing?
Oh,
No
I
can do.
probably would have been lingering in the I can't go for that area.
I want to see you with Your Kiss is on my list. Oh my God. You got to sing both parts. It's on my list because your kiss.
The whole time, yeah. Every time you go away, maybe that was it.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
That's not a really cloud pleaser. I feel like that couldn't have been it. It was probably more lively.
Could have been Maneater.
There you go. Whoa. Here she comes.
I did see them on a pier from a boat, and they opened with that song.
Was that Pier 5? Pier 6.
6.
But
Yes.
So Pier 6 is an awesome venue right by us. But when you go and basically try to mooch the music either from a boat on the water or from the pier next to it, Pier 5, just that's where you go. Hang out there. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Well, this has been awesome, dude. It was really, really great meeting you.
Man,
A lot of fun.
Awesome meeting you guys too. We're in Baltimore, during Christmas time and stuff like that. You guys are probably super busy at those times, but maybe
I'm Jewish, so no.
Yeah.
cool. Well, hey, isn't that the same time as Hanukkah? I mean,
You guys hang out.
Ish.
Yeah.
figure it out.
We'll talk about Ken.
Yeah.
We'll send pictures.
Seriously. That'd be awesome, dude. If you're in town, man, love to, have some
Absolutely.
music or
Stay in
something,
touch.
man. Be great.
Again, if you guys do come to Nashville, like, let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Robert's Western World all day.
Yeah. Do they
All
sell
right.
boots there?
It's on.
Do they? Could I
sell-
buy boots?
They sell boots on both sides. Buy one, get 2 pair free.
There we go.
Everywhere.
There we go. I was like, there's definitely a good place to get boots there. So
I'm like, how is that a good business model? But apparently it is.
I guess it is.
Cool.
Have a great
All
night,
right.
man. Best of luck.
Hey,
Yes.
you guys too. It's so nice to meet y'all,
Yeah.
and thanks for having me.
Be cool.
You too. Thanks, Brandon. Take care.
See you.
Oh, bye-bye.